for those that don't know, my name's Lara Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center. Hey, Susan. Hey, Bobby. We're an international educational center where we teach people how to use applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement training with the animals in their care. And we do that all through our live streaming classes. You can find out more about what we do at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. So this morning, I'm hanging out with Coco. This is Coco, that was given to us by a zoo. And what do you think, Coco? I intentionally got him out this morning because I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about today since it's a Q&A. But I intentionally got him out this morning because I train and work with Coco every day, and we work on behavior issues, and I have yet to be able to pick him up. That's Suki. And I have yet to be able to pick him up. So, but I can still train him. We've just trained, I move him with a crate. So he steps on the crate and I move him from point A to point B. So like we were talking about in the memberships the other day, if I'm nervous, hey Puff, good to see ya. If I'm nervous about interacting something I'm getting ready to do with an animal, then I don't do it. Because if I'm nervous, and we were talking about this last weekend at the Northwest Bird Expo, if I'm nervous about interacting with an animal or a particular behavior I'm trying to train, I don't do it. I don't do it because if I'm nervous, that means it's because I'm not exactly sure what the animal's going to do, and if I'm nervous, that animal is probably if it's not sure what I'm going to do, then I don't interact with it. Well, I do, but I just back up in my training and I try something else, and I always make sure I'm comfortable with what I'm training, because if I'm comfortable with what I'm training, then I know that I'm accurately reading that animal's body language. And if I see comfortable body language in the animal, then I know I'm on the right track. Let me know what questions you guys have, and if I can do some training demonstrations, I will. So I'm working on, with Coco, I'm working on several different things with him. So Coco has body language. He's been here a couple of months. He's fast. He is fast. So I'm not to the point yet. I was once where I could hand him treats. Hey, Mia. And I'm no longer there because I've been traveling and out of town quite a bit. Hi. So we're working on different things in the Parrot Project. I have every intention of picking him up. I'm just not there yet. Heidi says, how do I break my African gray from biting? He is unpredictable and very territorial of his cage. Heidi, we have that here every day. If I see a parrot on the ground, that is, I don't tell them what not to do. But if parrots are on the ground here, it's usually a sign of nesting, and that's never something I reinforce or promote, because because of the behavior issues you're seeing, Heidi. So how do you break him from biting? That biting serves a purpose for that animal. And if it's biting, you're pushing it past its comfort level. Like I always say here, we start with training calm. Where do you begin training a certain animal? And training is the best form of communication I have found with any animal. Like I said you've heard me say before, that animal can see, hear, smell, feel you. You are training it whether you realize it or not. We have a deaf and blind dog in the house, and she knows when I get up in the morning. She sleeps downstairs, I sleep upstairs. She knows when I get up in the morning. I'm assuming it because as we get up, the air starts moving and different scents start flowing through the house, and boom, she's at the bottom of the stairs waiting for me. But what I was saying, if they can see, hear, smell, or feel you, you're training it anyways. The key question is, what are you training? If that animal is biting you, Heidi, you're pushing it past its comfort level. Back up, find a place to start reinforcing calm, pair yourself with the positive reinforcers, and it's always the animal that determines the positive reinforcer, not us. It's just us that determines when they're delivered. And we always reinforce behavior we want to see increase. B.F. Skinner once said, you must never reinforce an undesired behavior, a behavior you don't want to see happen again. Good luck with that. Because sometimes it happens in the environment and you have no control of it. But that's what applied behavior analysis is. It's the science of common sense. It's the science of consequences. And manipulating the environment to get the behaviors that you need so you can reinforce them. If I'm working with an animal in a cage or enclosure, that's right, Rock, that's lunging at cage bars, I don't care what type of animal it is. What I do is I set up the cage, peekaboo, with food dishes around the cage, so that way if I think the animal's going to lunge after me as I approach the cage to deliver the positive reinforcer, I'll wait for it to be in an opposite side of the cage, and then I walk by and try to deliver a positive reinforcer. For example, I'm obviously talking about food. That's right, Rocky. Your girlfriend's on here. Anyways, I try to deliver the positive reinforcer where very quickly, and then I walk away, okay? And I walk away quickly so that lunge or that bite doesn't even give it the opportunity to happen. That way, what you're doing is you're becoming a conditioned reinforcer. That's what, Rock? That is usually always the place I start when I'm working, if I'm training a wildlife ambassador or a lot of prey animal, any animal. What do you think, Rock? But you're likely to get those behaviors. Those behaviors are very common in exotics. What you're doing is you're becoming a conditioned reinforcer. What that means is you are taking an object, like myself, and I'm consistently associating myself with the animal's positive reinforcer. That way, and this is what I say when I'm working a lot of times with wildlife ambassadors, in the beginning, hey Rocky, in the beginning, there's all kinds of great behaviors happening here right now. I'm reinforcing them. That's right, Rocky. Hi, Rocky. Hi, Rocky. He's not gonna let me finish. Peekaboo. In the beginning, a lot of times the only thing I have to work with is food because that's right, Rocky, because people are usually a feared object, but with consistently pairing myself with the delivery of the positive reinforcers, the food, and not pushing the animal past its comfort level, soon just the sight of me becomes, or the opportunity to interact with me becomes the animal's positive reinforcer. Does that make sense? Yes, Adrian, pairing reinforcers with my presence. Absolutely. Like with Coco, I mean, he can move so fast, he can deliver a bite, and you don't even know it happened until you've got blood dripping from you. I don't want to be associated with that because I want Coco to look forward to me interacting with him. And Coco is an animal, even though I'm talking about a bird, this applies to any animal. I don't know his history. I know zilch, next to zilch about his history. He looks like he's in his mid-20s. I think we were told he was a wild caught. I don't know. But all I have to work with is his body language. That's how he communicates with me. And even though a lot of our animals, we talk to them and we think they're understanding what we're saying, most of the time they're reading our body language. So, like, this is behavior I want to reinforce. So that may not look like training. There's a lot of training happening there. There's a reason we watch how an animal moves, its preferred form of locomotion. He cannot fly. That is why he's out here. Otherwise, he would not be out here during a live stream other than in the Parrot Project if he was flying, because I need to be paying attention to him. And I tell people, when I'm training an animal, I really don't like talking to different people, because when I'm training that animal, that is a line of communication between me and that animal. And if somebody comes up and starts talking to me, you're interrupting our conversation. And I have to take my eyes off of him and I have to look at you. And I could be putting myself in danger, or I could frustrate that animal because we were just sitting here training and he was earning reinforcers, and all of a sudden it stopped and he's still sitting there giving me the behavior. That can frustrate an animal. It may just look like I went over and pet him, but he is out on this gym on purpose because he cannot fly. And when I want to reinforce him being down here, because if he's coming down here, he's wanting interaction. So and I always ask an animal if I can touch it, if I can pet it, because a lot of times I see people just assume animals want to be touched. No, there's a lot of animals that don't want to be touched. That touch could be a very stressful interaction with them. Owls don't necessarily like to be pet on the head like you see on Facebook all the time. There's all kind of body language there. But anyway, something else I was doing with him. So I'm using conditioned reinforcers right here. You come down here, I'm coming over. And that's putting choice back in his environment, and that's him telling me I want interaction. Coco is a social animal. So he's gonna come back down, I'm gonna go reinforce it, hopefully. You guys hear that sound he's making? So he's making this, we talk about this in the Parrot Project, but he's making this, it's really light. It's like a, sounds like that. Since day one. Yeah, I bet you can't hear it because it's really light, but you've heard it before in the Parrot Project. Since day one, when he makes that sound, I'll lightly touch the back of the head. So you see how my hand is over top of his head. I am not going in like this because he can move so fast and bite me. and I just need to be able to know that I am accurately reading his body language. And what I'm doing, there's a lot of conditioned reinforcers happening here, right here. Every time you come down, I'll come over to you. Here comes Snow. And every time you make that sound, I'll move in for a pet. So I always ask him, can I pet? I don't. I think you've seen me pet him 3 times now. One time, he didn't. His eyes were not that. There's different body language I'm reading. He did not give me that cooing sound, so I'm letting him know what I'm doing is building contingencies, meaning if this, then this. If you give me that cooing noise, I will pet you. If you don't give me that cooing noise, I won't pet you. So that's that's me developing and giving choice in his environment. He's sitting, Quincy is right underneath him. He loves being in close proximity to Quincy. So I'm paying attention to my environment because there's a dog outside barking now. So those are changes in the environment I need to watch for. I can't assume that he's going to be okay with, so he's just watching Quincy. So a lot of times people will ask me, thanks everybody for sharing this live stream, I appreciate it. A lot of times people will ask me, how do I know I'm reinforcing a behavior? And a lot of times I don't know if I'm using a valuable reinforcer. I think I am right now. Why? Because I'm seeing this behavior maintain or increase. So 2 things need to happen for something to be a reinforcer. It must maintain or increase behavior, and it also happens after a behavior, okay? So the behavior of him sitting on this perch is being reinforced. That's right, Rock, because a lot of times he's right there destroying that toy. And I can't assume that, this is why I tell people, build your list of reinforcers. Hi, Rocky. So I'm sitting here training Rocky. That's right, Rocky, because Rocky is a screamer, Coco is a screamer. So I could be reinforcing, hey Gail, I could be reinforcing, hi Rocky, a scream, which I'm not. Instead, I'm reinforcing talking. What do you think, Rocky? And, oh boy, Snow outside barking could easily set Rocky off and get Rocky screaming. So I'm also, now, Coco is also afraid of sticks. What are you talking about? Another noise besides screaming that I want to reinforce. I was watching him in the viewfinder. That's right, Rock. Now his body language has just changed. And I'm not exactly sure what it means, so I don't want to accidentally reinforce an undesired behavior. So if I don't know what it means, that's right, Rock, I'm going to back up, and I'm going to put my tripod back where it was. Good job, Coco. I really want to see what Snow's barking at. Hang on. So if I hear a behavior or like her barking, I want to go see what she's barking at, because whatever she's barking at is reinforcing the bark. She's outside working, playing with the toy. I'm going to move this tripod back to where it was, because you see how behavior changed? Here comes the scream. What happened different in the environment? I moved the tripod close, and I moved my chair over. So, good. Did you guys hear that sound? I'm still not comfortable because now his eyes are looking up at my hand. And that means something else I'm training him is I'll deliver the reinforcer. This is you've seen, I've tried to deliver food, he's not eating it. He's working for interaction. And what I train, good job, is if your beak stays here, my hand will come over. If your beak raises, I'm pulling my hand back. Contingencies. Try to give him a treat. Sorry. Okay, so a couple more things happening. So I'm building my list of reinforcers. So now I have pine nuts and head scratches. Be specific with your reinforcers, not just scratches, head scratches, okay? Did you see the body language change when I hurried up and moved my hand away? Did you see? Feathers went flat. That is, he moved a little quicker than what I was expecting, and I was watching the treat instead of his beak, and I hurried up and jerked my hand back because I thought he was coming for my hand. I wasn't sure. Here comes the scream. I wasn't sure. So his body language changed as well because the best of my ability, he wasn't sure why I acted like that. So when somebody tells me, when somebody tells me an animal's being unpredictable, that animal is being unpredictable because something in its environment is unpredictable to it. So that's why I say predictability has its place. Here's Rocky. Here's the adorable Rocky. He's the one, he's also the mascot of the center. He's the animal that was going to be put down for behavior issues, and he's now our probably most handleable, sweetest bird. That, like I said before, what are you talking about? He's the one, he was a big screamer, biter, lunger, chaser. He's got the sweetest, most adorable voice. That's why we call him Rocky Valentine. We've changed those behaviors. He's watching you guys. What do you think, Rock? Anyways, this was a bird misunderstood. What? What do you think? What do you think? You seeing everybody? Say hi. You say hi? He's like, will you train me? How long did it take to get him to where he is today? Rocky? Jeez. Well, I've had him 10 years. Hi, baby. Yeah. But we worked on numerous behaviors. numerous. He's one of my best teachers. He's one of my best teachers because he had all these behavior issues and we changed him.